Why do we fall? So we can pick ourselves up again. Why do we fall? So we can pick ourselves up again. It's a line that echoes through the Dark Knight trilogy, one of the best superhero trilogies of all time. And it makes so much sense. Bruce Wayne's at a crossroads, and he's being reassured by his loved ones, yeah, you're going to stumble and fall, but it's so you can pick yourself up again. And that's what the Ottawa REDBLACKS are dealing with tonight after coming off their first loss of the season. And quite a decided loss as well against the Edmonton Eskimos. Now, in the first week, we saw them go into Montreal and do something they hadn't done all of last season, which is win a game on the road. Last week, we saw them in their home opener against the BC Lions, and they did something they hadn't done in decades, which was beat the BC Lions at home. We might have been jumping ahead of ourselves if we thought that the Ottawa REDBLACKS were going to go 3-0, or if a buddy of mine messaged me on Facebook and said maybe 18-0. Now, it seemed like Ottawa would have had this game in hand, but quite frankly, the Edmonton Eskimos, coming off a first game loss to the Argos and having a bye last week, came out strong. The CFL is so wide open this year, it's really anybody's game right now. But I'm mildly concerned about the REDBLACKS, and I'll tell you why for a couple of reasons. Number one, I will give all the credit in the world to the Edmonton Eskimos on a great win. I'll congratulate Matt Nichols, who came back from a horrific injury. To be even walking, let alone playing again, is fantastic. And if you don't believe me, you might want to YouTube Matt Nichols' injury and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. The human leg is not meant to be twisted that way. But the thing of this game is that I felt that this game wasn't as much as Edmonton's doing as much as it was Ottawa's mistakes. From an early pick six to costly, undisciplined penalties that the REDBLACKS took, this game was over pretty much before it began, as Edmonton had amassed a 20-0 lead early on in the game, and Ottawa just couldn't come back from that. It got to the point where backup quarterback O'Brien came in as Henry Burris got to watch the latter part of the game on the bench. Now, a couple of things I want to talk about. I had the opportunity of watching this game at one of the great sports bars in Ottawa, Hometown Sports. And I'm a strong believer of freedom of speech, but some of the comments you hear are just so ridiculous to me. Burris, you suck. Not really. Here's a guy who's won Grey Cups. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He set all sorts of records. Yes, he's a professional athlete. Yes, he gets paid a lot of money to play a game, but he's a human being, and human beings all make mistakes. I'll also come back to the fact that I've got a huge issue with any time a team's losing. Again, emphasis on a team losing. The blame always seems to be shifted to one player. One player doesn't make or break a game. If you say that a kicker missed the field goal so he cost you the game, I'll be right there to argue, well, maybe if the offense had gotten into a better position, they could have just gone for a touchdown. Or maybe if the defense had kept points off the board. You win as a team, you lose as a team. So the same way that Henry Burris may not have had the best game in week one and came back last week and was absolutely on fire, the team as a whole didn't play well. And I'm not terribly concerned about that. And I'll tell you this, I didn't expect the REDBLACKS to go undefeated. I hoped that they would play well against Edmonton. They didn't, but here's what's going to happen. They're going to get their butts kicked in practice this week. They're going to go over lots of game tape and lots of film, and they're going to come out next Friday at TD Place against the same Edmonton Eskimos, completely fired up and ready to play. People have a decision to make. You can either be 100% on board with this team and support them, as fans usually do, or you can be that fair weather person that kind of jumps on and off the bandwagon as you see fit. Last week here in Ottawa, had people behind me who were chirping Henry Burris when things weren't going his way. And then when they turned it around, all of a sudden you love them again. I commend his ability to show up at different events and smile and shake the hands of so many fans who are so fair weather. But I like to think for the most part, and I will think that for the most part, most people who understand and are educated on the game of football or sports in general get the fact that not every single play is going to be perfect. Again, I'm not going to take anything away from the Edmonton Eskimos. They went out tonight and they got a win, so congratulations. I'll be very interested to see what happens next week. Because I think next week they're going to play an entirely different REDBLACKS team who might have been getting a little ahead of themselves, and sometimes a little slice of humble pie isn't the worst thing in the world. Because at the end of the day, why do we fall? So we can pick ourselves up again. My name is Keith. This has been my view from the 40. And as always, you can check me out on Twitter at CFL_fan, Facebook.com/WittyWhittier, and WittyWhittier.com. I appreciate you checking out this blog. And again, it's my view from the 40.